Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Monday, December 12th slate of NBA action, man. I'm super excited to dive into it. We don't have a tremendous slate, but we do have a pretty decent one. It's kind of like the same situation as it was yesterday. I believe we have 7 games on. So, we have plenty to choose from, but currently, as of right now, we only have full player prop lines for 2 games. So I do have a play from each of those games, 1 player prop and 1 spread pick. And then, of course, we do have our consensus as well. But before we go ahead and dive into those, I did just want to go ahead and say that we are still currently on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So we are less than 700 subscribers away at this point that I am recording this video. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe. If we end up hitting it by New Year's, we'll be doing a pretty big giveaway, and you guys will not want to miss it. So make sure that if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do, and thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, so much more than you guys will ever know. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into a quick recap as of yesterday. We were really close to pulling out the shades. We really were. So, we ended up having the Suns +3 here versus the Pelicans at -110 as our kill shot play of the day. This one, honestly, I get it. I get why I had a lot of backlash in the comments. It totally makes sense, right? But this game, easily, this play could have won. But overall, there wasn't a Devin Booker. Obviously, he didn't end up playing in this game. DeAndre Ayton ends up fouling out in regulation. He gets into foul trouble actually pretty early in the game. Gets into foul trouble and then fouls out early in regulation. Then, of course, Chris Paul ends up hitting a shot with 4 seconds left on the clock to tie it, send it into overtime, and then Chris Paul fouls out literally right away in the overtime. I mean, that's just really unlucky. Chris Paul barely scored too, so if he would have just missed that shot, we would have covered. Or if he would have just, it would have been a 3 instead or anything. There were so many ways, but unfortunately it did end up going into overtime. Pelicans ended up winning by 5, so it is what it is. Then we had Anthony Davis over 12.5 rebounds versus Detroit. Finishes with 15. Truly not too much of a sweat. This one really was pretty easy, to be completely honest. I was mostly just worried that Detroit was going to get blown out since they kept it close. I saw that at halftime it was still close. I was like, yeah, he's hitting this over. So I'm really glad it ended up working out for us. So we ended up going 1-1 on our plays, losing just a tiny bit of juice, literally 0.05 units. So we barely lost any money yesterday. So pretty much a wash of a day. Hopefully we can go ahead and bounce back as of today. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's video. So for our first play of the day, our Kings kill shot play of the day. I love this play. We're taking Tyler Hero over 20.5 points here versus Indiana at -115 odds. Now I like this for a couple different reasons. First things first, recency bias is on our side. He has hit this over in 5 of his last 6 games just in general. And we all know Tyler Hero, no matter if he's making his shots, if he's missing them, he's going to be taking shots. And he is attempting 17.7 field goal attempts per game so far this year. So he has been shooting the ball quite a bit. And I think that he can easily get to that 21 mark. And also, for a lot of people, they are better at home. Tyler Hero, not necessarily the case. He is averaging 1.2 more points per game on the road than he is at home, and he has covered in 5 of his 8 road games so far this year. So he's only played in 8 of them due to injuries and resting and stuff like that. But he has only played in 5 of those 8 road games so far, or he's only covered in 5 of the 8 road games that he has played. So it does speak a lot of volume. He's covered a lot more than he hasn't, and Indiana is a tremendous matchup here for Tyler Hero. First things first, Indiana is 5th in pace. Obviously one of the fastest paced teams in all of basketball, and in the last 3 games they've allowed the 4th most points per game to opposing teams. So they play at a super fast pace, always a recipe for an over. They also allow a lot of points. Another recipe for an over, but just in case if that wasn't enough to persuade you, in the last 7 games, the Pacers have allowed the 5th most points per game to opposing shooting guards and the 5th most three-pointers made per game. And why that's important? Well, Tyler Hero is averaging 7.3 field goal attempts from 3 per game. So he's shooting a ton of threes. So if the Pacers, they do give up a lot of threes just in general. Hey, that speaks a lot of volume to me. It definitely helps us with that over, especially if he can get, 2 or 3 to go down. I think he hits this pretty easily. So that is going to be our first play of the day, our Kings kill shot play of the day. Tyler Hero over 20.5 points here versus Indiana at minus 115 odds. Now for our second and final play of the day, just because we do have only 2 games on, or 2 lines, excuse me, I will more than likely be adding one, but we're taking the Trailblazers minus 4.5 here versus the Timberwolves at minus 110 odds. Now, this is mostly just because I know that they just played I think it was like 2 days ago actually. I think they played like 2 days ago, and the Trailblazers ended up getting the win. I think they can do it again because the Trailblazers are just playing really good basketball right now. They have the best against the spread record in the entire league. And since Dame has gotten back, they've covered in 4 straight games. With Damian Lillard, this team is really, really good. They have a lot of good pieces, and I think that it's going to be very tough for this Timberwolves team to be able to keep up from a scoring perspective, especially with no Karl-Anthony Towns. Also, the Trailblazers are 9-4 against the spread following a win, which, like I said, they did have recently, and they are 7-5 against the spread as a home team. That speaks a lot of volume to me. They're a pretty good home team, and after they get a win, they like to chain those together. So I think it's a pretty good spot. And like I said, Minnesota, still without Karl-Anthony Towns. That's a huge piece to their offense. Not necessarily as much to their defense, but when it comes to that offense, it's going to be tough. Anthony Edwards is going to have to score a ton of points, which we'll get to in just a minute. But Anthony Edwards is going to have to score a ton of points to be able to keep up with this Trailblazers team, who has Damian Lillard, who his point line's like 27.5. Anthony Simons, who's like 22.5. Jeremy Grant, who's at 20.5. And then also Nurkic. Nurkic can go off at any point in time. So between those 4 players, they have a lot of scoring on that team. And I know that D'Angelo Russell has been really good here recently, but I don't know exactly how sustainable that is going to be. He's literally dropped like 30 the last couple games, so I don't know how sustainable that's going to be. Rudy Gobert, he's been putting up pretty good numbers scoring the ball too, but I mean, Rudy Gobert's not really a scorer at heart, so I just think that the Trailblazers can get it done here. Timberwolves also are 1-4 against the spread as a road underdog, and 2-6 as an underdog just in general, and 6-6 against the spread following a loss. So I just think this is a better spot here for the Trailblazers. I know that revenge spot, bounce back spot, but I just think the Trailblazers get it done here. So that is going to be our second play of the day. Trailblazers minus 4.5 here versus the Timberwolves at minus 110 odds. Now, one heavy lean that I did have in this game, and I kind of already mentioned it. Anthony Edwards over 25.5 points here versus the Trailblazers. I think that's a really good spot to target as well. Somebody is going to have to do the scoring for this team, and while D'Angelo Russell and Rudy Gobert have seen the biggest bumps without Karl-Anthony Towns in the lineup, this seems like a game. I was watching the last game between the Trailblazers and the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards had the ball in his hands so much. He had the ball in his hands like literally every play, and I just think that if we see anything similar to that again, I think he ends up hitting his over. But for now, I only have those 2 official plays. I more than likely will be adding one, so any added plays will, of course, be in the pinned comment section and also be on my Twitter. So make sure you guys check out both those spots. But for now, we just have those 2 plays. And so before we go, we do have our consensus play of the day. We do have the Oklahoma City Thunder traveling to Dallas to take on the Mavericks. Currently, the Mavericks are 8.5-point favorites. So from left to right for our cappers, we do have Brady. Brady is going to be taking the Thunder. I'm going to make this quick and painless. Mitch is taking the Thunder. Ryan's taking the Thunder. And Seth's taking the Thunder. So, I got to ride with my guys here, and I think it's a pretty good spot. I'm taking the Thunder here as well. The Thunder, they're just really good as road underdogs this year, and obviously would never take them as a favorite, but they're really good at covering. Think that's a little bit too big of a number. Luka it's going to be his first game back if he ends up playing it, and he's listed as questionable, so who knows? Luka may randomly end up getting injured or getting ruled out again today. So you never know, but we do have 5 cappers to 0, so that is our consensus play of the day. The Oklahoma City Thunder plus 8.5 here versus the Mavs. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. We're currently less than 700 away. So make sure that if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. But that's going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.